Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another special edition home is ended at 10 and talk about how they didn't really they're playing off a back to back or whatever. I get it. I get it, right? They're playing off a back to back. What are you gonna do? What are they gonna have the same energy as they did, going into going into today? And I'm gonna be honest with you, I really didn't expect them to have high energy at all. I mean, let me take that back. Not that I didn't expect them to have high energy at all, because of how much Memphis was like. Now they understand. Now they're coming in against an Orlando Magic team that's a conference team. It's a little bit more younger. They have size. They could give you trouble, and you know what? That just wasn't the case, man. My post game notes as I put on the final the final presentation of the game. So I'll share that in the screen. Um, just so you guys could see it, right? So you see it right here. Knicks lose their first home game of the season. New York couldn't get stops on the Magic, and were just outmuscled and outplayed tonight. The offense answered right back, and New York found themselves in foul trouble. An interesting test that the Knicks had a lot of trouble with. Next game Friday versus Miami Heat. So again, try to keep it short, nothing too crazy. Again, I'll show you guys the stats because I didn't really put it, there in my caption. But like I said, you see it right here. Knicks lose 124 to 107. Their record is now 7-4. And again, like I said, I think it was an interesting test. Interesting test because of the size, because of the physicality that Orlando plays. I know people are counting, they're not really on Orlando like that, like they were last year and in the previous year. But they still got guys that can play solid basketball and that can go in here and make it tough for you, right? Like a matchup that I think for me when it comes to the Orlando Magic that would really, really have me invested in, not invested, but interested in them, would be against the Chicago Bulls. A Chicago, a young team in Chicago that can play fast paced like the Knicks are trying to, that can play defense, that can shoot, and that got facilitators like Josh Giddey that can put the ball on the floor, go get a basket, facilitate the basketball, like I say, find his man, get some assist up, and again, get his guys in good spots to score the basketball almost on every possession. And that would be a really fun matchup to me. Both teams are young. I mean, I thought when Boncaro went out, I know he got hurt. When Boncaro went out, I was like, okay, now this is a good situation for the Knicks. And again, I'm not wishing no injuries on anybody, but I thought it was a good test for the Knicks to go out there and really turn up the pace, and they kind of did. But again, every time the Knicks went on a little bit of a run, Orlando came back and went on a run. Remember, we cut the lead to 15 at one point. And then all of a sudden, it was just straight goes up from what? Oh, no, excuse me. We cut the lead to 11. By the time we cut the lead to 11, that lead, that 11 point lead that Orlando had that we cut down went back to 21. And at some point, you're just sitting there like, dude, what the hell can we do? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, yo, their size is too much. Their physicality is too much. And that's on the defensive side. They couldn't get stops. No matter what Orlando did, they could not get stops. And credit to Orlando because they took it to Cat. They took it to OG and Obi. They were able to go out there, and when they didn't have shots falling, which they did, right? I don't know how many times the Knicks left Desmond Bain open tonight in the corner. I really don't. But the threes he took tonight, he was open. And because at the end of the day, this dude is gonna shoot a three, or he's gonna beat me off the dribble. He's gonna drive in, either get a layup, or he's gonna pass out to the next wide open man because they're disrupting our defense, right? Another thing that Orlando did that I think was very key, right? That I think was very very key was that they were moving the ball a lot and they got a lot of guys wide open at the top at the perimeter. And for a team that does not shoot well, they had a lot of good threes wide open. And again, they didn't really make a lot of threes like that, but they were making key threes that would put them up even further because we could not get stops or we couldn't capitalize when scoring. So our defense has to be better. And that's what it comes down to. Defensively, we have to come up with a strategy to defend the perimeter at a better pace. We are getting killed with the three ball, and that is not a stage for success. And I know, again, the season started, right? The season had just started, where we're getting into the nigga things, and I totally understand that. That's something I'm not disagreeing with. But at the same time, we got to understand that these are things that we got to fix now. We can't go into the middle of December, going into January and February with this being an issue because God, you get when you get killed by threes, and that's basically what it is. You can't survive that at times. You cannot survive that at times. So, Mike Brown has to install something to where this team is gonna play better defensively, and they have, right? But to make sure that if they're gonna put the pressure, they're gonna play up, and they're gonna try not to get beat off the dribble half the time, where they're gonna start scoring inside the paint. So, to me, I just think it was just to capitalize on their shots, right? They were definitely not taking care of the ball, and I kind of said it in my post here. I'll go back to it. Said a lot of things. I said a lot of things. Like I say, well, you see one right here. This was a couple minutes before I had posted the final game graphic. I said, if the Knicks, in all caps, if the Knicks can't get stops on defense, this game is over. And I've been saying that. I'll go back to my other. Come out into this third quarter like you started the first quarter slash first half last night. Excuse me. Right? Move the ball. Move the ball, play faster, create open shots, cut and create off-ball screens for more opportunity. Tighten up your defense by getting stops on every possession, whether that's forcing Orlando to make tough shots, or turning the ball over and scoring off those turnovers. Game not over yet, but this is a tough test for the Knicks that they have not ran into yet this season. That's obvious, right? That's an obvious assessment for anybody looking. But now we get into the halftime report. Down 20 at the half. Knicks getting killed on defense. But it seems like when stuff are not going their way, the Knicks tend to go back to ISO ball and stagnant ball and try to be the one man show to kind of get the spark going. And sometimes you don't need that. Even if you're not playing well, you don't need that. Edwards III has reported that Jalen Brunson left MSG in a walking boot. So that, again, I'll put that up on the jumbotron right here, just so you guys can see. This was reported. I will put that up. So give me a second. So Jalen Brunson left MSG in a walking boot and crutches. So we hope he's okay. Get some rest. Get some rest tomorrow. Let's see what happens if he does play on Friday against the Miami Heat, because that is going to be a big situation considering the fact that, he is the soul and energizer of this team. But yeah, man, Brunson. And the funny thing is, I didn't even notice when he hurt his ankle. So that's pretty it's pretty interesting. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's it's getting me a little bit because, like I said, Jalen Brunson. This happens a lot, right? He rolls his ankle, he's on crutches, boot, and then maybe he misses a game or two, and then he's fine. So we never know the extent with with Jalen Brunson. So that's the only part. But other than that, what else can you do? You just hope that he gets better, and hopefully it's nothing too serious to where he can play on Friday. If not, then we'll probably see him in our next game. But that one's a tough one for sure. Like I said, going back to what I had posted, right? They're not moving the ball, cutting off ball. It's a lot of ISO and stagnant offense. The Magic at the half were shooting 48% from the field. The Knicks were shooting 33% from the field. Big difference. They had 15 over our 6 assists. They had eight steals compared to our 5 steals. Points in the paint, 32 to 18, right? Fast break points, 12 to 8, right? Rebounds, 28 to 19. Points off of turnovers, 14 of 18. And then, again, putting their leading scorer at the half, which is Franz Wagner, which off well. It was an alley oop to Mitch. It was 2 buckets by Cat. So you started off well, but like I said, every time that they started off well, here came the magic. Here came the magic to score right after. So it was kind of like a tit for tat type of thing. And you can't have that. You can't have that, especially when you're down 20 at the half. Nah, man. You gotta get stops, and they just couldn't get stops. Again, this is right before the half. Horrible shot. I said horrible shot selection and not being able to take care of the basketball, getting killed on switches. It results in us being down 21 with 1 minute left in the first half. Ugly basketball overall. So again, they were down 21 and they were able to cut it a little bit before Orlando came back and made it a 20-point lead, and they would go into the half with that. But man, it's tough. It really is tough. Because like I said, they could have been tired. They could have been, their mind could have been somewhere else. But at the same time, like I said, I feel like they would have had some energy after yesterday, where you play one game like that yesterday, and even if it was against a team that you're better than, at least, right? At least you feed off of that energy, right? That Memphis Grizzlies team, they're still a bit scrappy. They still got one of the best players in the league, Ja Morant, no matter how y'all feel about him. But you put on a performance like that, and you have to fight your way in the second half to secure the win. Maybe that gives you a boost of adrenaline. So who knows truly what it is, but that's a tough one because you never want to see your team. The team had some fight at the end of the day, but it wasn't that much. It was just too much for them to overcome. Let's look at some box scores real quick, just so I could give you guys some stats. So I'll share my screen here. There you go. All right, so OG 34 minutes, 8 points. He was 2 of 4 from the field, 2 of 4 from three. So really didn't get didn't really get that much touches. Karl Anthony Towns with a tough game. 15 points, yeah, yeah, 12 rebounds, excuse me, 4 assists, 1 steal, 2 turnovers, 6 of 15 from the field, 1 of 4 from three. Mitchell Robinson with 2 points, eight rebounds, 1 or 2 from free throw, and obviously no threes. Jalen Brunson again trying to lure his team back to victory, but unfortunately couldn't get it. 31 points. He had 3 rebounds, 6 assists, and two turnovers. So again, got to take care of the basketball. Let's look at some some team stats. Excuse me. I'll show you guys right now. From the field, they shot 36 threes and only made 11. They shot 30% from three. They Their free throw percentage was 78%. So again, continuing to knock down those free throws. They got out rebounded by the Orlando Magic, 49-37. Assists, they were out assists from by the Orlando Magic. I don't even know if that's even out assist, but I don't even know if that's a word. 29-20 steals. They were both the same. Blocks, Orlando had 4. Knicks had 3. Total turnovers, 15 turnovers for the Orlando Magic, while the Knicks had 14 turnovers. And then points conceded off those turnovers, 20 points, Knicks 17. Fast break points, 20-19. Points in the paint, 50-48. Fouls, they had 23 fouls, Knicks had 25. So you see the difference of how both teams played tonight. It was definitely one that we could brush off, but we can't forget, right? We got to learn from these losses. We got to learn from these mistakes and how they play out, and how they learn against Miami, who already beat you guys. It's going to be pretty interesting to see what their answer is for the Miami Heat at home, and let's see if they get motivation what happened after what happened tonight. You just hope that this team gets better as we go, better than what we saw tonight. And even though they tried to fight in the second half, it was kind of way too much. And yeah, man. Yeah, it's oh boy. I mean, again, this game is nothing. It's nothing crazy. You live and you learn from it, but you want to see the Knicks take these gritty wins against teams like that. Against teams that got size, that can be aggressive at all times. Let's get straight to it. On the loss, he said you got to give them credit. They kicked. It's as simple as that. Against a good team, you have to win the possession of the game in order to give yourself a chance to win the game. We got our ass kicked in that. So he's absolutely right. He's not wrong at all. He's not wrong at all. Mike Brown says he was disappointed that the Knicks blamed the officials when things went wrong in the first half. That was disappointing to see. We were the culprits of a lot of stuff that happened on the floor, and I couldn't even use a challenge because we were fouling. So, Mike Brown holding his players accountable, saying, "Why are you putting this on the ref when you guys were the ones making ball-headed plays and making mistakes?" Mike Brown says all he knows about Jalen Brunson's injury is that he turned his right ankle. Okay, so he turned his right ankle. Hopefully, it's a sprain. It's nothing crazy, but yeah. Uh, let's see how he recovers that if he even plays on Friday. Which again, if he turns his ankle and it's just pain now, maybe he will. Mike Brown says, "quote If we're a no excuse team, we got to play the right way as best as we can and not lay the blame any place except square on us. If you leave it on the floor the right way, you're not gonna win. You're not gonna win them all. Then you take an L to the next one. So you just saying, we gotta we gotta play better as as a crew, and I'm gonna I'm gonna enforce that in my locker room. So I just wanted to show you guys Mike Brown's post game comments about what he saw today. And again, he was right. They kicked our fucking ass. They kicked our fucking ass, and yeah, there's nothing much you could really say. Okay, we could break whatever you want to break. At the end of the day, it doesn't change the fact that the Knicks got outplayed. They got outmuscled. Everything was just a disaster from the start. We couldn't get consistent shots going. They were relying too much on the three. We will see how that goes. Coming into the Garden on Friday against Miami, we will see how that plays out. But guys, with that being said, this is another Knicks on Top post game reaction video. I am your guy David from Top Bunk Sports. Make sure you guys like, follow, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and follow me at Top Bunk Sports. And make sure y'all follow me on X, Instagram, and TikTok. This is your guy David, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.